All right, y'all. Part 3. And this is the last part. Okay. So, in continuation of following the rules. So, I realized that in walking middle path, that is the hardest path. But I do lean to the light. Of course, love, but I want to explain something with that because love has its own dark and love has its own hate. Hate is rooted in love. You can't have hate without love. And love is the biggest thing, the biggest power. Okay? That means that when you look at hate, the root is almost always someone they loved hurt them to the point of hating. And what happens when we're thrown in it? We're the catalyst. We help them fix it, right? We help them transmute it through their abuse on us, for some of us. And we're like, Father, why? Because we're strong enough. And let me let you get to this one. Okay. So we follow these rules to help us avoid certain things. But on the flip side, you don't learn certain things. It depends. Because it depends on you and your perception and how you take in things. Your relationship with this universe and this multiverse is highly personal because you are your own universe. Each being is the front runner of their own universe and what they manifest. I need you to understand this is why you are the God head of your life with spirit, because each person has their own universe they live in. I cannot spearhead anyone else's but mine. And all of our universes cross, hence multiverses. Now, when you're talking about different times, that's multi-timelines, multi-dimensional. That's different from multiverses. Each person has their own universe, multiverses. You understand? So, and all the cogs have to fit. And that's a big damn machine. Any kink in it, any universe out of place, has to be replaced, has to be refitted. So I know that sounds matrixy, but it is. Discussion for another time. So anyway, my loves, this is so stacked. Reality is so stacked. And there's so many pieces. So many pieces y'all don't know. You're just a part of a whole big piece. That's another reason why we're not to have ego in thinking that we're so important. You have no clue what is walking around you that you can't see, but you can feel. You have no clue what has been, that still is. So, even the basis of the rules. Let's take the 10 Commandments, for example. Okay? The basis of the rules. They're simple. And if you love, it's easy to follow them. Right? If you know the laws of karma and consequence, it's easy to follow them. Because you don't want that happening to you. If you pay attention to eye for an eye, which is what's happening right now, you be like, no, I ain't gonna do that. I'm good. I don't need that drama. You understand? It's common sense. The thing is, the Old Testament is a historical account. It's common sense. It is. And then you'll have people, well, why did this prophet say this? Still a man. We may gloss over when we have a channel message, and but our brain is still working. A lot of people don't know how to open up the chakra system where they're all open and that light comes in and we're just channel messaging and it's 100% spirit. Can't be 100% spirit because we are in union with spirit. We are God with spirit. It's in us. We are a part of that all mind. And just because you are walking as God in your universe, don't make you more important than anyone else. We just have a head God that we believe in. You understand? But there are many, hence us, in our own universes. It's not a disrespect. It is a knowing. Because if you want to change and manifest like God does, then you better know it's mine because I created. That's why you created like God. That's why it comes to you when it's meant to. That's source over all of that. That's cosmos. That's source though. And source is different from these other spirits. Source is one overall. I don't interchange. I really try not to interchange what a God is and source. Source means from the beginning. So, do you understand? You have primordial energies, primordial gods, primordial species. You have these things coming up in the sea. What the hell? Did you think you were the first ones here? Science told you how long this has been. There were energies before this shit was here. Come on. Okay, y'all. The information is out there. And when you get hungry enough to know the big picture, and this picture is huge, just know everything is possible. And everything can be, will be, or may never be at the same time. So, and you may be like, well, damn, Divine, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to figure this out? Feel first to know, to find your starting point. Now, back to the rules. So the rules exist, universal laws, rules in the biblical book. All of these exist to help you choose what's easier or not easier. A path followed without question is easier. But do you live? Do you really live? Do you really experience? Do you really know? This is why the prodigal son was celebrated. Think about it. You had one son that stayed and did whatever the father said. But he did not know the outside world. He did not have the knowledge of the outside world and how things worked. So then how are you going to evolve if you don't shake up your spirit and say no? And not everything is a sin. Sin means without knowing, which means being ignorant of something until you know. So those 7 deadly sins exist because we do these things until we're taught not to. And why we shouldn't. But how are you going to learn that unless you see it in someone else, or unless you do it and then come back and say, no, this is why you don't. That is why when you do go in that darker path and you bring your ass 2 steps back, you are celebrated because you went through hell to get back to heaven. That's why. You did the work in the dark to get back to the light. And you learned. So you're able to bring that back. And guess what? Teach someone else. That's also part of your penance. Teaching someone else to avoid it. And if they don't, that's not on you. That's on them. And their punishment is more. Because why? You told them not to sin. Because this is what this particular sin does. And I'm talking about the 7. Okay? You told them don't do this sin because this is why you don't do this sin. Because this is what this sin does. And that person say, whatever, I don't believe that. I'm going to go and do it. And this is why they get it double and get it harder, because they were told not to, and what happens, and they didn't believe it. So they go and do it. And then they come back, and you will know some of theirs is longer. Right? That's why. Part 4 coming up.